Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Tonight we're back here with Gnoggin, and tonight we got more of the Kaskade region. So tonight, well, looks like we're getting some unique Pokemon combos actually. So let's see what kind of Pokemon combos he's got for this one. See who's gonna fit him into the Kaskade region. So be sure to like Scott for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's check it out.
So, we've been doing a series where I explain my ideas for a sort of dream game concept. And this is a part of it. This is the Kaskade region, based on the Pacific Northwest, and all of the Mon we're going to talk about today are Pokemon that would be found here. Hey, I already have like half a deck's worth of Mons, so let's also just fill in all the unused type combos to make that one of its own videos. And so here we are, now, today.
Don't worry, make sure to follow the thing.
Let's go ahead and start with one of my favorites. There are a few popular ideas for what a normal ghost type Pokemon would entail.
I mean, we got
it's a
Shakespearean
Zoroark, but I like this idea more. This is Spokoi and Opaquespiel. They are Shakespearean opossums. Some people pronounce the O, some people don't. So on top of possums just being here, Oregon hosts some of the largest Shakespeare festivals, and Ashland, Oregon is huge on their stage plays. It's like a mini Western Broadway, so Shakespeare
actually looks like
acting.
the Globe Theater, to be honest.
And what are opossums known for? Two things. One is hanging upside down, sort of being on the other side with all that, but also being really, really good at playing dead. These Pokemon are so good at playing dead that even death itself thinks they are dead. And they are so good at playing roles that you'd assume they are possessed by the spirit of the character. So all in all, this Pokemon is just a possum, hence the normal type, like most plain mammal normal Pokemon, but it just so happens to have ghost powers, like Decidueye. And look, it's doing that skull-holding Shakespeare pose with its baby. Possums carry their babies around, after all, and we gave the baby a little skull face because ghosts,
so
and because it just works
now,
it does the pose with the skull. So the names. Spokoi comes from Joey, a baby opossum, Spectate, which is what the audience does at stage plays, and a Spectre, a ghost who watches. Opaquespiel comes from Spiel, a long monologue, common in Shakespeare plays. Opossum, obviously. Opaque, which means not see-through because it's ghost type, so you'd assume it wouldn't be fully opaque, but it is because it's also normal type. But when you don't pronounce the O, like in opossum, it sounds like Shakespeare. Pakespiel. Shakespeare. I love this!
Close.
Fire Grass is another popular one for Fakemon, since they seem like opposites, but instead of another burning tree or pepper plant, let's just do an emu. There are plenty of emu farms around here. My uncle has one.
Violet?
This is Blue Mage. An emu with leafy plumage that blooms. And it's a fire mage that makes explosive fireballs that go boom.
Mage. Okay.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory, all things considered. Not all of these
that does look like an official Pokemon, to be honest.
Normal Ice. I have a fossil mon for this also.
That one I don't think I have.
Fossils video. So here is Cascadian Raticate. Why not ice? For a few reasons. It pulls from the bushy-tailed wood rat, which primarily lives in British Columbia, where it snows a lot. And look, the fluff on its tail and spine are ice crystals. Also, fun fact, Seattle is one of the most rat-infested cities in the United States, and historically, and even still today, they use dry ice as rat poison, which is also why the ice on Raticate makes it look like a spine and ribs here. It's a dead ice rat. Poison steel now.
So, does that mean there's an, like, Cascadian Rattata? Or is it like normal Rattata, but if you use, like, a certain ice thing, like, say, an ice stone? Is there an ice stone? I don't know. You get the Cascadian Rattata? Eradicate, sorry? I'm just kind of curious to see how that works. I don't know. I mean, to each their own, as they say. But anyway, moving on, we got Poison Steel next, so let's see what's coming up with this. Probably pollution, but we'll see.
Mercriny. How do you mix metal and
Mercury and Criny?
Well, by using mercury, the poisonous metal. This little guy is based on the pygmy horned lizard, which are covered in hard thorns, and are able to shoot blood out of their eyes to distract predators, which is what this here is referencing, but shooting actual blood from your eyes is a bit dark and messed up for an E-rated game, so let's make it steel type. It's liquid metal instead. It cries mercury, and its thorns are rusty, as wounds caused by rusty nails are believed to cause tetanus.
Watch out with this one, you're gonna get tetanus.
Reasons for it being poison steel type. Now then, here's a big one. How about the regional bug? Every early dex has one of these, the Caterpie, Grubbin, Blipbug of the region. So here we have Silo, an adorable little upright grub. The bug normal type Silo do nothing but sit up and eat all day. They can eat their body's weight in grain in each sitting. So why is it normal on top of bug? Well, because the combo hasn't been done yet, and also you'll see the evolutions make more sense. So obviously, Silo is a lowly grub. All it does is eat and rest, so it sighs a lot of the time. A little cutie. Plus, it's constantly stuffed with grain, so it functions much like a grain silo. All of that gets the idea behind the name, I feel, but now just what sort of grub is it? Well, it's a somewhat more obscure insect, and maybe you'll figure it out as we evolve it. Silo evolves into Coo-Reds pretty quickly. Like Silo, Coo-Reds are very immobile, but rather than sit and do nothing, it practices making unique sounds with its trumpet-like proboscis mouth thing. The fibers that grow from its head are super tough and surround its body to form a cocoon-like structure, protecting its soft, metamorphosing insides. The name comes from cocoon and dreads, as the fibers on its head appear like them. Dreadlocks are a bit more common here than elsewhere in the United States, especially on hippie-esque people. A stereotype for these states. So, why is it playing the trumpet? And what the heck is it? Well, it is the pupa stage of a Weevil. I mean, look at this. It looks like it's playing a little trumpet. And they make coverings out of tiny twigs and such. Coo-Reds is where the normal type starts really showing through. They learn a load of sound-based moves, and compared to most bug-type Pokemon, are soft in parts. Hard exoskeletons is one of the big reasons the bug type is a bug type. It's what the type is all about. So the normal type here balances that out since it's a softer bug. And it gives it a stab bonus with loads of sound-based moves. With its trumpet, it pretty much only plays reggae and ska. Yeah, you heard me. Ska. Let's evolve it.
Bug-A-Sack.
Bug-A-Sack has a voice kind of like a deeper Mr. Mime, and it's what you get when you cross a Weevil with a hacky sack and ska. Though interestingly, hacky sacks have quite the interconnected history with ska and reggae. So real fast history time. Reggae and ska come from Jamaica originally, a place known for having heads full of perfect dreadlocks. When the genre made its way to the west coast of the United States, it started mingling with the punk scene that was just beginning to make it mainstream, which led to what most folks consider ska today. And it was at reggae and ska concerts that the footbag, what hacky sacks were once called, were first sold in Oregon City, Oregon. This is why the iconic hacky sack shares colors with your typical reggae Bob Marley aesthetic. And of course, the main thing that sets ska apart from other rock genres is the inclusion of trumpets. And Weevil snouts are just begging to be turned into trumpets. And many Weevil have patterns similar to hacky sacks already. Plus, hacky sacks tend to be filled with grains, just like silos and just like Weevils. Weevils are known for ruining entire stockpiles worth of grain by infesting grain silos, the little devils. This is all so perfect. The only thing with this guy that I'm not too certain on is the name. If you have a better idea for a name than Bug-A-Sack, then let me know in the comments. But speaking of reggae and hacky sacks, it is time for an obviously a Jokemon. For normal poison, here is Cascadian Skuntank.
Tank, huh?
Get it? People say weed smells like skunk. Also, again, the stereotype of this part of the United States. And
hey, I gotta make sure I'm not smelling it.
Yeah, but why did it gain the normal type on top of the poison? Well,
I don't know. Could use
a question. It's because it's mellowed out. It isn't fully poisonous gas clouds anymore. It's chilled, it's mellowed out, it's calm, and it doesn't want to hurt the world very much anymore, man. So instead of focusing so much on poisoning people, I'm just gonna
grass poison them?
Tackle them.
I don't know, poison ivy
with normal moves. And also, here's a normal steel Cascadian, Exploud. Ska isn't the only genre that had its big start here, so did Grunge. So this Exploud is basically one big Nirvana reference. The garage band from Seattle that exploded onto the scene, and then exploded out of it. It's got an amp on its back and an even more spinopsy head with steel horns and steel teeth. These circles here are more speakers. It's your typical grunge colors, Cobain's glasses, guitar strings, and a pattern that resembles Converse and torn pants. Yeah, It's a lot. For Fighting Fairy, here's Namabjeka. Native American garb of this sort was a huge part of the hippie 60s protests, which is a part of this design, as well as the Nimarigar, a race of tiny people who ate other people, primarily from the folklore of the Shoshone people, but would of course be spread throughout the mini-nations. It's basically a Native American goblin of sorts, and in the case of this Pokemon, it is one that is fighting for justice through protests and self-defense tactics. It's a protester with a connection to nature. Kind of like Greenpeace, I guess. The name comes from Nimarigar, of course, which also goes by many other names depending on who you're talking to. Nanumbi, Numorica, Numurica, Nanumdeka, Nenemreka, Nui Deka, and so many more, as well as the word mob and object. Fitting of protesters, and Portland and Seattle sure are fond of protests for social justice.
Sounds right.
I swear, this design was done way before the current wave of protests happened. I swear, I promise.
Sure.
It's coincidence. I'm not making light of a super serious situation, okay? Ground Fairy, Cascadian Excadrill. Again, sort of self-explanatory. These Excadrill live in the crystal caves under a mystical mountain based on Mount Shasta. Some say that these Excadrill crystals have the power to heal. While true for wounds and poisonings, doctors say way too many people think it can do more than it can. And your kids still need their shots, ma'am. Yeah, so Oregon and Washington is an anti-vaxxer hotspot. A huge chunk of the anti-vax movement started here. I remember just a couple years ago, there was like a huge measles outbreak here also. Because of that. But, you know, who needs modern medicine when you have essential oils and healing crystals and yoga? Oh yeah, that's a chakra symbol on its gut, by the way. Fighting Ground, Desiree. It uses the Swords of Justice definition of the fighting type rather than the Kung Fu boxing one. Most of the stingrays that live in this part of the world are in this sandy color, and it's just already the perfect cowboy hat shape, really, or even a park ranger hat. Then, instead of a stinging tail, it's a bullwhip tail. It's a Wild West sheriff that swims through the Oregon dunes, which we have, by the way.
Or you can see like an Indiana Jones
too. So many huge dunes everywhere. Desiree is always fighting for justice with its new whip-based fighting moves. I just absolutely love how this one turned out. A+ design. Bug Dragon. I'm gonna go ahead and go for the super obvious choice this time around. It's Cascadian Yanma and a new regional evolution, Yanmage.
Yanmage.
So I love this. Yanmage is the same letters as Yanmega, Yanma's normal evolution. You just swap those last two vowels.
Big glasses for Yanmage over there.
These are found at Wizard Lake, which is based on Crater Lake, as Crater Lake has an island in it called Wizard's Island. So we went a step further and made it Wizard's Lake and added a Wizard Tower to that island. And yes, Blue Mage are found here too. So, a dragonfly it's such an easy connection to make for a bug dragon. But we wanted to do more than just a bug dragon.
Also,
wanted to take it one step further. So we're going along with the idea
chest.
that the dragon type is also explainable as a sorcery type, as we explained in this video here. So we added the sorcerer and wizard elements. The wizard hat, the sorcerer's staff tail, a magical orb that's actually an icosahedron in the bubble dice roller because it's also just one big Dungeons and Dragons reference, hence the nerdy glasses. It's a little role-playing LARPer dragonfly. So it turns out the Pacific Northwest is the region with the most nerds in this regard. I mean, look at this map.
Oh, wow,
also, it just makes sense. Wizards of the Coast started in Seattle as well. And I mean, it rains so much here, you gotta have some mainly indoor activities. For Rock Ghost, I've got two. Cascadian Palo Sand and Prospector. Prospector is a Delmines
Prospector and Ghost
a prospecting specter. A possessed rock with a mining lantern / ghostly canary cage. As miners would bring canaries with them into mines. If the canary died, it was because there was poisonous gas in the cave, and you should leave. Canaries are extra sensitive to such things. Then Cascadian Palo Sand just swapped the sand for pebbles and river rocks. Loads of beaches like that in these parts. For normal rock...
Makes sense in a way, so... I kinda like the Prospector, because... Again, there were a lot of mining accidents down in the Northwest. And the West, too. So, you know, the whole gold rush and all that. So, actually thinks Prospector gets like an evolution that found gold. I could actually imagine that happening. Anyone else? Anyway.
Here's Cascadian
Cascadian
Ambipom. I specifically
welcome
wanted
back.
to try and redo Ambipom and Crabominable because they are my least favorite Pokemon designs. So with this Ambipom, we basically mixed in some Lichen Rock elements and based it on the Agropelter, a folklore creature from the northern US, as in all of it, like here's a map. It was basically a Bigfoot-esque monkey creature with super long, bendy arms like this. And with those super bendy arms, it would throw rocks and sticks at extreme speeds with a whip-like motion to defend its territory. So just make those arms be the tails, and there you go. It uses its regular arms to just carry around extra rocks it finds. It has a really nice rock collection, and it is a champion rock skipper. And Cascadian Crabominable takes ice poison. Look, it has more of a proper crab face now. So regular Crabominable is based on the Yeti crab, so I wanted something similar. So this variant is based on the Gorilla crab, also known as the elbow crab. They are fuzzy, brown, purpley, and have these extremely wide and strong arms. But the big fun fact here is that gorilla crabs are one of the very few species of crabs that are actually poisonous to eat. This brown fuzz, ice, and poison works well as a reference to the permafrost found in the north, which looks like this, and as it's melting, it is releasing all sorts of nasty gases and bacteria. Very bad. So it all comes together. For electric fighting, how about Mindflux, a regional evolution of Mindfu, based on the Wolverine, a close relative of the Ermine.
Not that Wolverine, sorry, Hugh Jackman.
A martial art that is popular here, and uses electricity to speed up its punches and kicks. Many of the world's fastest fighters are Taekwondo artists, after all. Bug Dark. It seems odd that we haven't had a Bug Dark yet, but here's Kleptorak. Spiders are often seen as evil and mean due to their methods, and thievery is also a very dark type thing to do. So this arachnid is a kleptomaniac with its extra grabby tail arm. It's based on a local nightmare. This is a spider so nightmarish that it still mainly goes by its scientific name, the Rumptier fictilium. I hate it.
Really?
This Pokemon, though, not only steals things and puts them into its woven bag, but it also just kidnaps other Pokemon. So it's got a creepy old man kidnapper face. Poison Psychic now. This one's deep. This is Kayagus. So hear me out, there's actually a lot to this design.
Saw this back
in all of archaeology, the oldest known shoes were found near Fort Rock, Oregon, and they are made out of sagebrush. Sagebrush also has many medicinal and spiritual uses across the Americas, from treating wounds to warding off evil spirits and clearing the mind during meditation. Plus, more recently, we found out that it is in fact antibacterial and antifungal. Now, on top of that, in Japan there is a yokai known as the Ashiari Yashiki. It's just a giant foot. Like literally, it is a giant foot that breaks into your home and demands to be cleaned. Foot fungus is also a thing, as is the little old lady who lives in a shoe, with the nursery rhymes and everything. And this is relevant because a sage is also an old wise person, often the one who would be using sagebrush. Now, on top of all this, the bottom of a snail is called a foot, and there are giant snails just like this giant foot yokai. And many snails eat and even cultivate fungus. Yeah, there are snail farmers. It's amazing. And a lot of cartoon depictions of old people give them wrinkly lips just like these. And if we exaggerate that further, we could get these toe-like protrusions. And then the big toe could be a poisonous harpoon launcher like what the cone snail has. And when you combine all of this, you get a wise, old, poisonous psychic snail that is a foot covered in fungus and sagebrush. And to top it all off, there's actually a fungus called Dead Man's Toes, because it looks like this. Wow. It's honestly perfect. Also, Nike is based in Oregon. There's more feet stuff. And the name comes from fungus, yak, hag, and most notably, likaya, the Chinookan word for snail. And lastly, for Fire Fairy, Tamarost. A tamarin hipster barista that roasts coffee beans. Tamarin are from South America, just like a load of coffee beans, and people up here love coffee so much that they founded the world's biggest coffee place, Starbucks. And likewise, Tamarost are not native to the Cascade region, but rather are one with nature's and the dense jungles of the South. They can hear the forest calling to them, and their connection to nature means they will always find the best coffee beans. And as such, when coffee began being transported to the Cascade region en masse, they followed. and now are here. They pick the beans and roast them in their toasty hot hands. And thanks to the beans and their spiritual connection to them, they never sleep. Sleeping is too mainstream anyway. Also, they are incredibly good at giving massages, just because of the hot hands. Now, there are a few varying types of tamarin, which are super tiny monkeys, and them being that tiny just adds to their fairy typing. And then, their difference being sex-based is inspired by gibbons, which otherwise has no connection, but I'm sure you can see the rest. I wanted to reference multiple kinds of tamarin at the same time, because look, these two, they're just so perfect. It's such a little manly mustache monkey. These guys are so cute. And also, they're more stereotypes.
Nice overalls on the middle, by the way.
It's easy to come up with stereotypes.
Also bags on
so
the
what
eyes,
do you
too.
think of this group of Mon? Favorites?
It actually does look pretty good, I'll say that. So, I'll leave that up to you guys. What do you guys think's the best Cascade region Pokemon here? And we actually saw two that we saw back in Slimpia with the Yamage and the Foot Snail. So anyway, until next time, like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoyed. See ya!